Welcome back to Squid Strengths. Now, today's a special one because it's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. I brought my purple squad, i.e., the O losers, but we're winners here at heart. And I want to bring everyone together for this amazing reunion. I also want to introduce to you my co-host, fellow player, and mind-body powerhouse, Ryan Crow. Now, Ryan and I realized something very fascinating after the show. We all went through the same journey, call it trauma, PTS something, as Faith said. And we looked at this and said, well, strengths, mind, body, flow, there's a lot to really talk about. So I want to bring on Ryan here and let's get this conversation going and let's introduce our purple squad.
Thanks for having me. I want to make this fun, talking about the strengths and squid strengths and then combining it with the mind, body, flow method. Just to give you guys a little insight of what that is, I just launched this program. It's a developmental program for leaders, executives, and really comes down to just anyone to help them get back into alignment with themselves, mind, body, and flow. The problem that we're seeing today is we have so much out there with all this technology, all these fitness plans, but we're really just looking at it as a Band-Aid on a symptom like we do with a lot of things. So if one of the pillars is off, your mind, body, or flow, and you're not in this alignment, you're not in flow, you're coming from more of a survival state. So I really created this plan to help give the tools and techniques to really get back into that alignment and get back into your peak state of who you are. So that's just a little insight of the mind, body, flow method, and I'm looking forward to our conversation. First off, introduce yourself for those people listening, what your name is, your number, and just give a little insight of who you are.
Yo, I am Larry. I am player 053. I work in cannabis, and I am from Ohio. So thank you guys so much for having me on. This is about to be fucking sick.
My name's Corey. I'm player 445 from Louisville, Kentucky, and I don't work in cannabis. I'm a pastor.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we really have two sides of the spectrum there on that one. So
I know.
It was a good, complex, contrasting identities there that they do a lot of that in Squid Game. So it was very interesting to be a part of all of that.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Jane. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I sell drugs of the legal kind. But actually, on the opposite side of cannabis, I sell drugs for Alzheimer's medication. I have a little girl named Stella. She's 8 years old, and I just enjoy being a mama and a wife, and so excited to reunite with you guys.
Yes, awesome to have you. And I first just want to say, Larry is also selling legal drugs as well. But yes, it's for a different.
This is
True.
I'm Hannah, player 334, and I sell cars. That's all I got.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you were a South Floridian for a while with me, but I just had to leave the Miami lifestyle, I believe.
Yep, more of a central, calm, cool, collected.
Look, I understand it. The Miami lifestyle is a little crazy at times, but a pleasure having you on as well. And I guess we'll just jump right into it. I want to not only share our experiences as the O team and having an early fate, but also just talking to some of the dynamics of your actual experience when it comes to stress, how you were regulating your emotions, and a lot of the complexities that actually come with going on something as big and drastic as Squid Game's experience. So I guess we'll just jump right into the first experience that you had, and that's entering the arena. For me, I will never forget that experience of the first time you're going through that tunnel and you're seeing everything. You're going into this huge production and studio when you're in the dormitory. Walk me through, what was that inner dialogue that was going on for you guys as you were first entering the games? Larry, you want to give yours?
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. So when they lined us up outside, I was the first in line. And there were already a couple groups inside too. So really, I was just like hyping myself up, dude, because I knew like this was going to be it, right? I'm first in fucking line. We got to make it fucking happen, right? I'm carrying the weight of the group on my shoulders. I fucking ran in there like I just won the election, bro. I was throwing my hands up. And as more groups came through, it seemed like the hype really died down. My group came at like the best time because the room was already pretty filled, but people were still excited to see more people come through, dude. So yeah, I felt like I won the fucking Super Bowl when I ran through there.
That's funny that you say that, though. It is a different perceptual experience for everyone, because I think me and Hannah, I'll let her get into it, but came in at a later time, and it almost felt like everyone had already had that initial reaction of, wow, there's more people coming in. We kind of walked in and it was just like, Okay. Some more people are coming in.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were the last people.
Yeah. So that is an interesting concept of that. Corey, what was your experience? When did you go in as well?
Yeah, I was in probably the middle-ish group, and they line you up in that tunnel outside of the dorms before you go in. And they tell you, hey, when you enter this door, whatever you walk into, cameras are going, mic is on, you're in Squid Game. I'm a competitor at heart, so I was game face. I don't know if I'm getting ready to walk into red light, green light. I don't know if I'm getting ready to walk into mingle. Didn't know we were going to walk into the dorms. It's go time. Like, we're here. It's time to compete.
100%. I agree. And like, I was trying so much to just keep it in that gameplay, the whole mode, but it's so interesting of just some of the emotions and things that you're dealing with all at once. Go ahead, Jane. When did you go in? I was curious.
Yeah, I think that was third or fourth group.
Yeah.
So very similar to Corey. I thought for sure we were walking right into red light, green light. So I had game face on. And then as soon as I saw the dorm, I got really pumped. And it's a very surreal moment, right? Because it's like something you've been watching on TV and you don't think you're going to see the dorm until later on if you make it past the first round. So for me, I was like, okay, wait, what is this? Why aren't we walking into a game? And then I kind of felt a little like fish out of water. I'll be honest with you guys, because I looked around, I didn't see anybody I knew. And I knew we were on camera from that moment. We were mic'd up and I'm like, what do I do now? Because they didn't give us any direction. They literally just say, go be yourselves, mingle with people, talk to people. So I'm just like looking around like, what's next?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I do remember just like scoping the room around and you felt helpless at one point of looking around. What do I do? What do I do? You're overridden with all these emotions and so much going on. Hannah, I had the experience of entering the games with you, but I'm curious what your perspective on it all was.
I definitely also thought we were going into red light, green light. And I can't even really remember what me and you were talking about the whole time, but we were tripping. We were we were going crazy. That's all I really remember.
Yeah, it was just amazing. Awestruck.
Yeah, I was definitely awestruck. Enough so that I didn't even realize there was an X and O on the goddamn floor. That's how Delulu and it's just, oh my God, I'm here at Squid. I didn't even see these gigantic X and O's on the floor. I knew something was going to be up, but I did not catch that until I realized it was on the floor.
One of the first things I saw, and I counted the beds first off.
That's how crazy, like, my brain was not functioning.
They're not enough beds.
Yeah. Well, that's so funny. You were like counting the beds, and I literally was like in the bathroom looking at the shower and the walls, and I'm like, yo, did they make these poop stains? This is crazy. I was like looking at the attention to detail and everything. Like I was not counting anything, bro. I was just chilling.
Did they leave Thanos' blood on there?
Yeah, I was just like, is this real dirt?
Well, and that is an interesting concept because it's interesting to understand where everyone's brain's at as far as like Corey, I'm sure you going in with like a gameplay mentality, you probably saw the X's and O's right away and are just already overthinking, having this whole narrative in your head of like what that even is. And then you got Larry in the back.
And you know, too, from when they first called us all together, I was trying to hide you because I was scared they were going to call a number out and eliminate someone. And you're so freaking tall. I literally was having you stand right behind me to try to hide your number. That's how game mode at every second I was in.
I know that was one of my biggest fears.
Everything.
It's not a surprise. Corey's number one commander, problem solving, strategic, obviously. Ed, he's the guy that immediately said musician.
431. Ask if anybody's a musician in the group.
Which, yes, we were all thinking the same. I hope we were.
Yeah.
That's not enough people. Well, we got Larry and Henry, our catalysts, so they just go straight ahead like, oh my God. And like, so excited. You know, we got a little peppy guys.
I'm what May gotta get the action going.
And Jay, empathizer and thinker, your pause was probably a very long pause. You're like, holy shit, we're in the norm. All these things are happening right now. And also you're feeling all these things from everybody else. So when you're trying to process everything, and a lot of the processing for Corey, it's definitely up here. And for Jane, it's definitely here.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I actually remember somebody coming up to me that recognized me from college. She's like, oh my gosh, I know you. We know each other. We went to EKU with my husband. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what? I'm trying to take all of this in. So that conversation lingered with me. And then I'm trying to meet other new people and find myself finding people from Kentucky and common ground. And you nailed it, Bryant. So I'm feeling all the feelings from everybody else, but I'm also thinking like, okay, what's going on? What's next?
Yeah. And one thing with you, Jane, you definitely know whatever emotion you're having, you definitely show it on your face and the people will know what your emotion is.
I know.
And that's kind of segueing into the next thing. It's like we have all these emotions going on outside of that initial when you walk in, and that kind of settles down. What emotion hit you first, like of the reality? Was it an excitement or was it stress or was it like, what the hell did I just walk into?
I was doing cartwheels. Remember in the hallway, I was doing cartwheels. I was so excited.
My big thing going in was like, we know that we're all not staying the night in the dorm. There aren't enough beds. We know that something is coming and something is coming soon. And like, I went into the game never thinking it was me versus you. I went into the game thinking it was all of us versus the game. And the further we could move our whole group forward, the better off we were going to be. And so my whole thought process is like, again, trying to hide you. I was trying to pull Larry down from climbing up the bunk beds. I was asking Tanisha to please get down off the stairs. Like, you're drawing too much attention.
Yeah,
like, I was like trying to get all of our chickens in a row. Like, please stop. Like, something's getting ready to happen. Like, come here.
He was
Let's
big.
get
He
ready.
was big dad, dude. He was like, it was like anytime I did anything, Corey was, get over here right now. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, bro, I'm literally just vibing right now. Like,
oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, no.
Ryan, it's hard to answer that question. You said what emotions. I just remember it feeling very surreal, which is not really an emotion, but I just remember looking around thinking, I can't believe I'm here. So I guess awe would be an emotion. It just felt so out of body.
It was almost like you could instantaneously feel all the dopamine rushing into your brain as like you were entering the games. And it was so fascinating to be aware of that as it was happening because you are in this awe, starstruck just world going
it's hard
on.
to put into words.
Yeah.
Felt like God in there.
Hey, look, it's a good perspective to have.
Larry was going to the back of the room. I saw you like literally like, that's my door.
Yeah, dude. I'm not going to lie. As soon as I walked in there, it was crazy how much I like turned on. I was like a silver tongue from the second I went in there. Every single person that I talked to, dude, it was just like, I don't know, I was just having very solid conversations with everybody. I was ready to fuck it up in there, dude.
An interesting concept to it all is the environment that we were put in shapes what you're doing. And some of us might have actually entered the games where we wanted to actually have this mask on because we were in a gameplay mode. But how do you feel the environment of everything really either changed who you were or what you wanted to do? Or the environment just affected your gameplay in some of the crucial moments? Did any of you guys have like a switch of what you thought your narrative was going to be? Or Larry, did you just continue on that like, I am going to just fuck up as many things?
That's the thing, too. I don't know what exactly my game plan was coming in. I was coming in a little bit more reserved, right? That was my idea, right? I was going to come in really reserved, right? But just based on the interactions, a little bit, not like reserved in a sense of like, I'm going to be quiet and in the back and like not talk to anybody, but more reserved in as in like, anytime I see someone make eye contact with me out of the corner of their eye, I'm going to walk over and have a 15-minute conversation with them. But
Larry, your presence is not reserved. I'm sorry.
I know. It's not.
There's reserved.
No, that's not a word I will use in any way, shape. You are the opposite of reserved.
Well, I thought I could put on a mask, right? As soon as I walked in there, dude, the energy was just so high. The aura of the whole spot was so high. And everybody there wants to make connections with everybody. By taking that time and not talking to people, I would have been doing myself a disservice. So I really went in there and just fucking talked till my fucking jaws hurt, dude.
I talked to people in the first hour or so. I was being strategic, right? I thought we were going to be doing red light, green light, so I was trying to save my energy. But in the beginning, I was talking to every single person, and then I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, and it got kind of like, okay, well, I'm just going to save my energy for red light, green light, and that was that. I thought I was going to I can't hide. I just can't hide. So I'm just going to be me, and come what may. I was just going to I'm going to talk to everyone, be who I am. I still got a little sore thumb. I've tried my whole life to be a little bit more reserved, be who I am, but it just doesn't feel like me. So it was going to be like that the whole gameplay. And that was just going to be that. That's how I was going to play.
I don't know if I see the word reserved with you either, Henry. I'm not going to
Oh my God, I never use that word. That's why I can call out someone who's the same thing as me. He is not reserved. Like, no way.
True.
I think anybody that
100%.
tries out for a reality show is reserved. You've got to have a little bit of an outgoing personality to even audition. But You made a good point, Henry, because I don't understand how people all, like that say that reality shows, or especially this one, is scripted or fake. Because you could go in there. I mean, I know you guys played a really good game pretending like you weren't a couple, but to go in and pretend like you're a completely different personality, I don't know how somebody would do that unless you're an incredible actor. Because once you get there, you're exhausted, you're hungry, you're cut off from your family, the outside world. There was no way I would be able to go in there and be anything but authentic and be me.
Yeah.
Like, I went into the
Authentic.
game where, like, as a pastor, my professional life is extrovert. And I have to be very inclusive, talk to everybody. But my like natural instinct is introvert. And so I went in there thinking, I'm going to have to be Pastor Corey. I'm going to have to be talking to everybody, shaking hands, doing all of this. And it took 3 hours for me to be like, nope, you're out. You're out. Like, you're gone. Like, you just resort back to your true self so quickly. Like,
100%.
I think that's where me and you hit it off.
Real quick. Yeah.
I think that's where me and you hit it off, because you were very like, we would start talking about people like, oh yeah, no, there's no way I could play with them. No way I could play with them. No way.
I'll never forget this one guy sat down with us, and I'm not going to say his name. He sat down with us, and I think it was Hannah was like, oh, he needs to be in our group. I literally said, no, you can leave now.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that. And I was like, I agree. Get him out.
Well, Corey, I actually want to go into your story a little bit more, because it is interesting being a pastor. And from my understanding, throughout the casting process, you were potentially going to go in as more of a villain type pastor.
Yeah.
So how did that change when you started to actually meet people and start to interact with everyone? Did you feel like that shifted?
My casting process was weird. I was casted to be a villain. There was no question about that for me. They were even asking me questions about, like, what do you think your church would do if you did X? Do you think you would get fired if you did X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, no, like, we're good. Because my whole pitch has always been like, yeah, I'm a pastor, but I'm a competitor first. Like, I played D1 in professional rugby. I want to win. That's what I want.
Tell them the nickname. Tell them the nickname.
What?
The bastard pastor, bro.
Oh, the bastard pastor. Yeah, I had friends here calling me the bastard pastor before I went. Bro, I don't even remember telling you that.
Yeah, I remember.
But that went out the window so quick, because it was so fast how much you truly end up connecting with people and caring about people on such a real level so quickly. I've always thought it was ridiculous on reality shows when people cry or be like, oh, they're my best friend. I'm always sitting there like, you've known them for a day. They're irrelevant. Yeah. But that changes so fast that it is impossible to put it into words.
I wouldn't have believed it until I experienced it. Like, even like a dating show or whatever you see, you're like, there's no way these people are bonding that quickly. And at one point, though, I was like, literally, I was going to like save you all on Mingle. Like, it was the hot man out. And I was going to close the door and like sacrifice myself. But like, it's insane that quickly you could bond with people, because you're going through this just completely unique experience that you can never fully explain to someone that has not gone through it. You could try to as much as you want, but you really cannot, because there's so many elements that are going on. It's like you're expediting this human experience of like 5 lives into one quick, short moment. It's so hard to explain, but it is an awesome experience.
My husband still says, like, I can't believe people cry on reality shows. I'm like, listen, not only did I cry, I cursed, I screamed, I did things that I didn't think I would. I mean, I was so emotional, but you did.
You told a girl, and I quote, get the F out of my face before I punch you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
You know, she wanted to be best friends. I wasn't looking for a best friend at that moment.
Oh my God.
Sorry, whoever you are. I'm sorry. I don't even remember who it was. I apologize.
We won't fully go into that moment, but it is a good point of talking about the stresses that goes on during Squid Games. It's not only about the food that you're getting, the environment that you're put in, all the crazy overthinking of the games. Like, were there any physical sensations of stress, or did you guys feel moments where it was almost taking over your thought process of even being able to perform at the games? Because I know at one point I even had to like go through my own mental framework. I had to go into a little breath work with myself, because I was very stressed out at a moment where I felt like my game was no longer in my hands. And that was hard for me, for someone that has a lot of control issues. So I don't know if anyone else experienced something like that.
Yeah, I definitely did, man. I was physically stressed the whole time I was there. As soon as I got there, I should have just stayed up all day and went to sleep at the end of the day, right? But I fucking got in there and immediately took like a 5-hour nap. Like I slept for so long and my sleep schedule was just like basically fucked the whole time. It was very mentally exhausting too. I think to touch on earlier about like the connections that you build and like how it's hard for people to believe reality TV. I also think when you're in these situations with these people and you don't have a phone and you don't have a lot of interaction with people, I feel like you give people your undivided attention and you just get to know people so much quicker too, right? So that's why even from the jump, it was like move as a group, you know?
Absolutely. How about you, Hannah? What was did you have any like stressful moments where you felt like you were like about to break?
Yeah, when I had that one scene saying, no, that I literally lost where the whole world, I had no idea where I was besides there in that very moment. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was just, I don't even know where I was in the world. It was just there. And I'm like, no, don't hit the buzzer. No idea. That was the stressfulest feeling ever. It was just like a horrible feeling. That's all I know.
No, it's a good point though. There were many moments where like we're in our own little perceptual bubble of this game, and it's like nothing else that is on the outside was even in your tunnel vision at that moment because the game was everything for you. It was your life. It was literally every little moment was focused on this goal. Even though it was a stressful state, sometimes it was in its own sense in a flow state where you were just only focused on what was at hand.
I was just like, because of that stress, you can only control what you can control. And that's why you saw me kind of go up and like, he can count to 100 perfectly.
He counts to 100 perfectly. He counts to 100 perfectly. This is one thing that I train.
If this is the parameters that I have, I'm going to work within those parameters, right? I can only sway whoever, at least I have a little bit of say in saying, okay, I get to choose someone, this person I believe that's going to be doing it, than rather having nothing, saying nothing at all, because I'd rather go down at least taking some action than taking no action at all. And that's kind of how I deal with stress. Like I'm in stress, I'm like, I got to do something about it. I will not stay still. I cannot stay put.
I took zero action.
My number one coach just totally came out 431 who was up on stage and went up saying, you are the decision maker. And also I think I brought 350 Roger, who's a musician. Corey, you and I had the same strategic. We're thinking the same way. So as Henry said, we took whatever agency we had, which was our own strengths, way we interpret the world. We brought it forward. But what we didn't do is go overboard with it. I think we did the best we could, to Henry's point, the parameters we were given. And a lot of it is because of the strengths we have. And I think we did as good of a job as we did, given the very little agency we had.
Yeah, we should have bullied him, honestly. We really should have pushed a lot harder.
It's small, but the one credit I will give to our twin was that I really wanted to go up on stage and try to take control of the room, because it was so clear that he had lost the room and that nothing he said, no one was going to listen to anything. And I was like, I think I was even on the first stair, like getting ready to say something to the whole, but it was so clear that it didn't matter what anybody said. There was nothing anyone could get up there and do that was going to calm that room down.
Correct.
And so it was very much a quickly like, cut your losses. The room is lost, period.
Yeah.
Like our only hope now is getting this guy to listen to somebody that's in the right state of mind. And you could just see the deer in the headlights on his face of like it was over. He looks young. I think he's young. I don't want to like beat on him too much. You could tell though, he was lost up there. The room was lost. And so it simply became, how can I make this guy listen to me? Because the room's gone. The room's done.
Yeah.
It's no longer, the room's not helping. It is strictly, we need one person to do this now.
Completely. And watching back, I don't know about you guys, but watching back the episode in X's versus O's, the big difference to me that stood out was when Jaunty yelled at the X's and he said, hey, he took command of that room and we needed somebody that everybody respected and listened to, because there was not one person in that room that everybody was going to stand back and respect, because so many people were vying for the attention and the camera time and whatever it was.
You got to also give credit to Twin 432.
Because after that, Jaunty spoke up and then 432 said, okay, listen. And then he even turned a couple people down. He even said, no, I don't think that's a good idea. That's too convoluted. That's too complex.
Yeah.
So he was he showed a few more leadership skills, I think, than ours. Again, I'm not hating on him, but that was the big difference that stood out to me watching it back.
They
And with
also
the
kind of
editing-
really down. Yeah, with the edit, it seemed so much more calm than it actually was in there. Like,
And
I
It
remember
was
this-
complete chaos.
we'll never know. Like, I really do like John T. We'll never know how much that speech actually played a role in that room. Like, it could have
True.
been nothing that they just clipped and put there. We don't know.
you could have
that.
whispered it and they mic'd it up.
He could have been talking literally to a wall. We don't know what
Having
was
spoken with a
happening
couple exes, they do credit John T for that bit.
Okay,
There's
good.
credit
With-
for John T.
with
Not to say it's
our
the only
room,
thing, but the twin made a difference.
Yes.
And again, my sport is rugby. So I've played and competed with alphas my whole life. Our room was so full of alphas.
Yes.
That, again, John T, anybody could have said whatever
I
they
know.
wanted. It would not have mattered with them.
I agree.
promise.
They edited them all out.
Nothing
They
would
all
have
out there.
mattered with
Edited
them.
out.
They were not there. They were all gone.
They edited all the alphas out, except for you, Corey.
I was saying that.
And
Yes.
Commander Corey, like you and Alicia are definitely the
True.
Corey,
Alicia's
Corey, I
great.
would have loved for you to gotten everyone to go straight up on stage and got everyone to sing Hallelujah. I'm just saying.
We weren't going there.
That would have been awesome.
We weren't
Yeah.
going there.
I mean, I'm going to say something probably controversial, but I think our room was full of alphas that were full of shit.
Oh, for
but
sure.
that's my opinion.
That's why
Yeah,
it was
sure,
so
they're
chaotic.
alphas.
I think,
They're
yeah.
alphas,
Yeah.
they made no sense and they weren't helpful. So we needed an alpha that was actually helpful and made sense.
Well, there are a few guys that didn't even get an edit. They were like up there, I remember. And let's just say they were older white men. I'll say it on my podcast. And they're standing here and trying to like just dictate to
Yeah.
whatever happened before we even knew what the hell was going on. So that
Yeah.
set the tone. That set the tone.
Well, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like
There were a few, well, you guys know my situation. I don't want to call any numbers out, but there
No,
were
yeah.
that were just wanted to be the loudest in the room and get some camera time. And
that's the thing. It's like we could talk about hindsight all we want of like, I wish I would have gone up there and did anything. But like if Corey would have walked up there, all these
Wouldn't have
other
mattered.
alpha egos would have like taken
Right.
that as
Yeah.
a threat that
It
they're
wouldn't
now
have
out of control.
Taken
They
down.
don't have their own reality in their hands. And so
Correct.
that would
Yeah.
have just broken out in chaos. We could always talk about the hindsight. It really comes down to just who managed the room better, 100%. But at the end of the
Brian,
day,
you're not even talking about your scene when you literally leapt from the back of the room.
oh yeah,
forward. I mean, I
There-
saw you leap like Michael Jordan. Like,
there was so many. I mean,
Same as him.
one of
He walked up at his moment.
Well,
One of the
Ryan, I
biggest
think
things-
bear hugged somebody and turned him around into
I
a-
walked up and had to
He was gonna start
remove someone
throwing-
from going up there. And like people were
Yeah.
actually like, oh, good job, 293, good job. I was like, maybe that's my one moment. I had to walk away because I was yelling at the twin
I
at
saw you
one
get
point.
heated. Yeah.
And the twin just like wouldn't even listen and look. And he just like, it
He was
felt
so
like
overwhelmed.
he got,
he was so
but
overwhelmed.
what made me mad is it felt like I saw that he got power hungry. And I can't fault the kid because like who knows what I would have been like on that podium, and you have all these people looking
All
at
those
you. So
people.
I'm not mad about it, but in that moment, it wasn't just about like that. I saw it in his eyes, this like power hunger that got to him, and that's when my ego just did not like that, and I had to walk away from the situation at one point, and that it broke me. It was a very stressful moment that I wish I would have acted differently, but at the same time, it's like
I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was
I was like, look at Ryan. Wow.
I loved it too. Hey, don't get me wrong. I got to do. I had tried to take control as best as I could. It is what it is. But also, when it comes to the twins, hey, they volunteered. Anyone who volunteers, I will put full on responsibility because you wanted the screen time and you wanted to be shown, and you took full on responsibility. If you cannot handle it, I will eat you alive. I don't care because you took the responsibility, and it was my fate and $4.56 million at hand. So I'm not going to be that nice. I'll be like, hey, yo, you did that and you couldn't handle it. Then it is what it is. It is.
Good point.
I did love how like we knew we had lost, and well, we were fairly confident that we had lost regardless of what the other room did.
I knew when we
But-
started that we lost.
I did love us just talking into our mics to whoever was listening, being like, hey, if your all's job is to make television, you need to keep us. Like, this room will fight tonight. People will not survive the sleep tonight. Like, you have to keep us. Like,
oh, that was the only way I thought we might have won, is they maybe were going to rig it in our favor because they saw how much chaos was on our side. I had a delusion in my head at one point that I thought maybe we were, because it was taking some time in between there. I thought maybe they were viewing the tapes and trying to swindle as much as they could. But the reality is, we were so far off that there's no way they could have shaped it that as much as you can shape the perception. No way at that point.
No, and I really didn't realize that they do actually have a third party. Like, you guys remember those people that came in and got the counter? Like, they really do have a third party that comes in and checks the count and all of that. Yeah. That's what they were doing.
That goes all the way to the end of the game. And even the coin game and
everything is authenticated and double checked. Yep.
Correct. So it just so happened because so many people, I don't think they went through the entire process that they go through with fewer people. But nonetheless.
Interesting. I did not know.
They don't rig it. They won't rig it.
What
they did say is that we lost by 12 seconds, and I don't think that's
we did not lose
by at least
seconds at all, bro. We lost by at least a couple minutes, dude. That shit was great, man. I knew that we had lost before it was even over, right?
Me too. I knew when we started 10 seconds off.
Yeah. And after I started, I tried to yell and I could not even hear my voice coming out of my mouth, right? So at that point, I really was like, okay, well, there's not anything that I'm going to be able to do to affect the outcome of this situation. So what I focused on was, all right, I'm going to at least sit somewhere or put myself in a position to where I will at least get as much background or screen time as possible. Or if in the crazy circumstance we do win, I was up on the stage in the back, right? So I was like, if we do win, right? I'm going to be right there. Everyone else is going to die. It's going to be crazy. And it turns out all the angles were shot basically from the POV that I had. They were right above me.
I don't think I saw you anywhere. No, I didn't see you.
Yeah, I know, right?
No. Larry sent me a photo of something that he's like, look,
He
I'm right
thought
there.
it was
I
him.
No, we can't tell.
That's
Try. Larry, all you really had to do just be yourself. I think what you did, you put yourself way too out there. You literally just walk. I see you. You don't. I see you. All you have to do is stand next to Corey. You two.
I tried. He wouldn't. He wouldn't.
Frame the entire
Corey.
Our whole crew. Everyone got screen time except you.
Yeah, Corey was in a little hole in the corner, get in here, guys. Come on, right? Who would have thought that he would have got more time than me?
all of us were in that.
We all got some screen time.
Yeah. Well, that was crazy because they did the interview and everything. They didn't use any of that footage. One of the worst things too was when I did the drop on Instagram, when we first started talking about it, it got so much coverage. My page went to it was weird, almost 70K views in 4 days. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Right. And then the show comes out and I'm literally at my 75-inch TV with a magnifying glass, please, God, fuck, where am I at?
Ella and I were watching it on 0.5 speed. So I could be like, that's me. That's me.
I think I caught myself.
We caught you. Yes. They had you in the mist for over an hour and a half. But yeah, they didn't use anything. They buried us. 15 minutes.
Right. You and I were up front for forever. Remember that? The guards came up to us.
Yeah, we got the old patch. I was like, this 9-episode season that should have been 10.
Yeah.
And we're the episode that dropped. Half of this freaking cast. They mentioned that Deja was going to be an O. There was a lot of people who switched. There was a lot more switching than we thought. So there was a lot more back and forth. So there would have been a lot of dialogue between people who did stay in the dorms and the people on our team. And some of the people like Deja originally was a no.
I do think that our game was going to be an episode. And I wonder if it doesn't show any of the chaos that happened in our room. And I don't know if it's for legal reasons. I don't know if it's for other reasons. I wonder if there was just so much chaos they couldn't show our side and they had to trim it down and all they could come up with was 15 minutes of us not literally fighting each other. And so then they just kind of had to throw it in with everything else.
My 2 cents, I think it's really more of, I think Squid Game in itself as a game will bring out what society is in today's world. Regardless of how we are, we as humans, we tend to gather with people like-minded. We are always in survival mode. What will actually happen in that specific episode is 200 plus people lost agency. And that led to massive chaos so quickly. All the wars of humans all came out too early, too soon in the first episode. And that was very hard for, as a viewer, to actually take in, because that's not really supposed to be the storyline. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to root for that last person who won. So you want that story to build up. But I think that first episode was a little bit too intense for any of the viewers to really take in, for you to carry through the rest of the story. Because you want it to be inspirational at the end of the day, that this person went through all these things and they actually won. But the first one was just way too chaotic. Just humans in general, when Squid Game was made, that was exactly what it was. It was about showing the society and how everyone interacted. And this reality showed exactly that, which is really crazy. And I learned a lot from the show in itself, how this is one situation, taking one thing away from someone, showed out the true colors and everyone knew who they really are.
Well, what Faith told me,
So well
she said
said, Henry. That was really well said.
Faith had a motto. She said, don't do what humans automatically do. And that got her top 10. Well, where did that get O's? Because we definitely went back to primal nature.
And it is a huge bummer too, because we had some killers on the O side that would have not only made great TV, but were great competitors and would have been really great for a show that I really hope there's some people that get another chance at something. Our crew, you mentioned Alicia, Brittany, there were some sharp people on our team that just didn't get a chance to do anything.
Yeah, it was interesting even talking to some people, because when you're entering the games, you don't fully understand their mindset of how they're going to gameplay. And even like someone like Brittany, I would have never assumed some of the things she was saying and some of the angles that she had. And so there was so many people that not only had a really great story to tell, but just had this fascinating perspective of what their gameplay was going to be.
Don't judge a book. That's
with Brittany. With Brittany in particular, when we were in the little stage right before we go in, we have our vests on, our thermal things on, we have our ink pack on, our suit on, and she grabs me and she's like, we didn't put on motion trackers. We're not playing red light, green light. Something that I just totally missed.
Yeah.
And it was like a little comment that I was like, dang, you are sharp.
Sharp.
I missed that. We had some killers on our team that just didn't ever get a chance to shine.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, and there was somebody else, Corey. You were good at picking up on that, though, Corey, because you also noticed somebody else said something about Zoe and her dad.
That was also Brittany.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, we were trying to get Zoe and Kurt to go up, and we were going to pick Zoe's side because we thought Kurt was going to throw the challenge for his daughter, that he wasn't going to want to beat his daughter in the first game. And I was like, golly,
and look at what happens.
I need to remember you.
Smart. Yeah. Smart.
100%. All right, so Team O, we understood what our fate was there. Let's talk a little bit just about the after effect. I know for me, once that squid pack actually launched, went off, it was draining. It sucked out all this energy that you had just built up and all these hopes and dreams that you have in your head. It deflated instantaneously. Even though we had a pretty good idea that we probably weren't going to win based on what performance we saw, when that pack went off, how were you guys feeling, and give your experience of what that room was?
Yeah, dude, it was so weird how we touched so much on the energy and how you could just consistently feel the energy in the room the whole day, right? And it was so weird how drastic the shift in energy was all at once. Honestly, the way that I remember it was like a flashbang, right? I couldn't fucking hear anything around me. As soon as I felt it, it was like I got goosebumps all over my body, and I immediately fell down. I started twitching a little bit. I cope with a lot of stress with humor. It's just kind of the way I've always dealt with things. But honestly, it fucking sucked. But in a way, too, it was the only time in my life where I've seriously reflected on my own mortality. I'm a big believer that I can speak things into existence. I really, really believe in myself, no matter fucking what, dude. I always bet on myself, and I feel 95% of the time I win, right? And that was one of those times where it's this is fucking business, and business is never fair. When I went into the game, I initially signed up for the game because the game looked really fun. I was a really big fan of the first season. I was a big fan of the TV show. But then my dad got really sick and he needed a heart transplant. And he was trying to get on the transplant list, and he was not able to. The VA was talking about not covering the cost of all of his medicine, right? And medicine's fucking expensive, dude. It would have been probably at least over $1 million in actual medicine, right? So I was going to go in here and this is going to be fun. But if I do win the money, if I can help my dad out and I don't see any of the fucking money, I don't care, right? That's just the cost, right? And for me, when the squid pack went off, after the initial oh, fuck, I just died. But like the only thing I could think about was like, yeah, this is not real death. But in a sense, to me, it did honestly feel like a very life or death situation because of, just everything that was going on with my dad at the time. So it was a very fucking hard pill to swallow, very humbling, but I always find like the silver lining, dude. It was good for me. It hurt. It really fucking hurt. But I also think that it was good for me.
Larry, that's your number one self-believer and also your problem solver, and you intertwine that together. It's a very complex emotion that you experienced, and really appreciate your vulnerability sharing that here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing just going in there, having fun and set a little hope that maybe you'll get further along in the game for whatever reasons. But I can't even imagine having that extra weight. The flashbang reference is really true of what kind of I experience as well. But I can't imagine having all that extra emotion just coming out. And it's a good perspective that you have on it, though, where you could take this moment and really dwell on it, or it becomes a growth moment to find that silver lining in it. So love your perspective and appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. Looking back, now I'm so far removed that when I think about it, that there was 226 grown ass men and women yelling at each other over who can count the fucking best. It's fucking hilarious. Like, oh my God, like fucking idiot. That's what I feel like when I look back on it, right? Reflecting back on it, there is something that was so beautiful about that moment, even though it was such a terrible fucking moment, right? Like, yeah, it was weird.
Oh, look at me, the empath over here crying. Because I do remember Larry reminded me, like, after we died, I remember we all stayed. I don't know if you guys remember that, but everybody left and everybody was out of the dorms, but us purples stayed.
Yes.
I don't know why we
Yes,
stayed.
you're the last one.
I gave a literal team talk. If they ever do a behind the scenes, we literally all circled up and I gave a speech.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I don't know why we did that.
Didn't we
literally
chant
circled
something?
up.
We chanted something, didn't we? I could have
forgot
sworn we
about
all
that.
had our hands on each other. It was like, fuck the extras or something crazy. I don't know. It was crazy.
We did. We like came together and it was so organic. Like it was not planned. It was just so natural that we just all lingered there.
It's like it was the bond that we made in such a short period of time while we're in the dorm, and we went through a lived experience together that we will forever have. And that part right there would really connect us all. Like at this moment, no one else, only these 200 people, and especially this purple crew, will understand what we all went through and the stress that we went through, and no one else can ever relate to that. And that, I would believe, have really bonded us together. And then we lost, I felt that even afterwards, we can connect like we are right now and relive that moment, the funny moments, the sad moments, whatever it may be. And then our backstories, even like right now, hearing everyone's stories and where they're coming from, it really hits because like we were all really there fighting for something, really wanting to do something. And then these bonds we can just carry forever. That one moment in time can now carry through. And that would really like how I took it. It's okay, but this is what we got out of it.
That's
Yeah,
so
I think
profound.
too-
That's very profound.
I think too, one of the reasons we stayed after a little bit and had our little team huddle after the fact, and I'm sure every alliance that was there would say the exact same thing of what I'm getting ready to say, but we were so set up for success. Like our team was so set up. Yes, everybody had alliances inside of the alliances, but we legitimately had 30, 40, 45 people all rowing in the same direction. And had we just made it through that coin flip game that we knew was going to be a coin flip, we were set up to run things from that point forward. And I think we all kind of recognized that. And at some point we would have broken off and we would have done the things with the people we were actually close with. It would have happened and it would have been fine. But from the jump, again, 30, 40, 45 people all on the same team with each other.
know.
Like it was just such a bummer to know that we were so set up had we made it past the coin flip.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. No, I cried the entire way through watching Mingle. I mean, I literally, again, empath. But I watched it and I'm like, I can't imagine us having to go through that. I don't know what we would have done. I don't know how we would have gotten through it. I mean, because somebody would have had to be left out.
Yeah.
And my heart
Not
broke
fucking me.
watching that.
So,
Larry would have pushed me out in 2 seconds. Like,
wait a motherfucker. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Listening back to that clip, can we just take a collective breath? You can literally hear the adrenaline in our voices. It's chaotic, it was loud. Honestly, it was a masterclass in human behavior under extreme pressure. So I'm going to put that coach hat on. We're going to look at this from a strengths lens. What we're going to call the software. Now, because what you heard wasn't just panic, it was people desperately trying to lean in to their innate natural talents to survive a situation where they lost almost all agency. You heard Larry walking in like as if he won the Super Bowl. That's the self-believer in him manifesting his reality. You heard Corey stepping up when the room was lost. That is the commander trying to create order from chaos. You heard Jane absorbing everyone's emotions. Now that is the empathizer in overdrive. But here's the problem. We had all of these high performers and all this high performance software ready to go, and then the ink pads exploded. And suddenly, none of those strengths mattered. Now, Ryan, you and I talked about the unified theory of performance all the time. So break down what was actually happening to our biology in that split second.
Yeah, exactly, Bryant. And that really brings us to the core thesis to this entire series is you cannot run high performance software on a crashed out hardware, which is our nervous system. So when those ink packs went off, that was a somatic trauma marker for us. And it happened so quickly in a split second that the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that Bryant's talking about, which decides all decision making, strategy, and ultimately where our strengths live, that now goes offline. So we're in this state now, the hardware, the nervous system is perceiving threats all around and it starts to override everything else. You're in that fight or flight mode now. So let's look into some of the biology that we noticed in different perspectives. Starting with Larry, he walked in and he felt like he won the Super Bowl, was walking out in the Super Bowl, and like he was actively searching for that. The RAS that he has, the Reticular Activating System, was at work. That's where your brain starts to feed the stories of, I am the Super Bowl winner. And so it will filter and find those reasons to reinstate that belief. But the problem is you can only run that high energy and engine for so long before that system starts to crash. And Corey, he was a little bit different where he was the commander, like Brian had mentioned. He was really trying to get everyone together and be making sure that he had control of his scenario and his allies as well. That's biology. It wasn't aggression, it was control. And his body started to sense all the different chaos that we were enduring with our nervous system. And that was a way for him to get back, is to control the scenario so he knew what his environment was so he could perceptually move to the next point. But the most fascinating moment in the clips when we actually died. And afterwards, we all huddled up. It was the most humanistic moment that I was a part of on the show. And biologically, that's called co-regulation. When all of us are going into this fight or flight state, our nervous systems are fried, we look to the moment to find ourselves in that community, find that calm. So by circling up, that was actually strategizing how we were going to regulate afterwards by hacking our biology to bring us to this safety net that we think again. We can go back into our reality. So it's a matter of equipping the right tools and understanding all of it so we can get back into this natural state that we could all start learning how to intertwine and co-regulate with each other. So it's just understanding how to do so.
That concept of co-regulation, that the huddle was a biological hack for rebooting our systems, well, that's mind-blowing. It validates exactly what Corey said in the clip. We were set up for success. And I believe he was right. Once we co-regulated in that huddle, we brought our hardware back together online. And as if we walked together into that next game, into that next state, we had the commanders, the catalysts, the problem solvers ready to dominate. But alas, wasn't meant to be. So this leads me to the next question that's kept a lot of us up at night since that day we wrapped up filming almost a year ago. What if that coin landed on the other side? What if Team O survived? What would the Purple Squad have done in the Six-Legged Panthathlon? Intermingle, that was the game I wanted to play. And further along. And the darkest question of all, could our biological bond of co-regulation have held up in some of the most psychologically driven games that Squid Game has to offer? Or would we have turned our backs on each other in order for our individual survival? We're going to get into those hypotheticals, so tune in next week into Squid Strengths. You're not going to want to miss part 2 of our discussion with our Purple Squad. What if the Purple Squad lived? We'll see you next week.